All right. So in the previous lecture, we got our WK to HTML PDF completely up and running like it's supposed to, so our reports will print properly. And we have under our print here, I'll go ahead and pull it so you can see we've created a print menu for our nutrition products. We can click open with, and we see our report where we pulled in the name of our product, the calories, and the nutrition score. So we've successfully accessed what I would call the header records for our product. Now we want to see how we can show and list out these nutrition values on our report. So we're basically just learning how to collect and print more information on the report. So let's pull up our report here, and we can see here where we have our nutrition score showing up. Let's go ahead and create a header for the nutrition details. So we're going to call this the nutrition details, and this is where it's going to list all of our nutritional details, and naturally we are going to be looping through them. So let's see the syntax for that. You're going to start out with a T, like all of these are, and again we're going to do a for each. So it's much like the for each that you see up here, where we're doing, this one's doing for each docs, and this one we're going to do for each O dot nutrient IDs, and that's coming right from our model that we had. Just like we have our O nutrition score and we have O calories and O name, we can reference O nutrient IDs that has all the nutrients that are attached to this specific product. So we, once again, as we did up here, we need a T as, so we know what we want to refer to each of these as. And so I can just refer to these as nutrient, like that. And sometimes, since we're doing O, it's sometimes common to use line for the line items. O for the primary document, line for the less one. And so now I'm going to /T to end this, and we can now just go in here just to test this out and use our span here. Let's go ahead and do line dot name. So we're going to get the line here, and actually we need line dot nutrient ID dot name, because remember the line itself, and we're going to go down here and find it. The line itself is going to have the nutrient ID in it. It's going to have the unit of measure, it's going to have the value, and it's going to have the daily percent. So to get to the name of the nutrient ID, we need to first reference the nutrient ID and then go to the name. So let's save this, and we'll start back up our server, make sure we don't get any errors, which we haven't. And now we can go here and look at our report again, and we should see the list of these items showing up. And there they are: total fat, sodium, and calcium. Now there's just spaces between them. We'll have to format, but you can see that we are pulling the records. And that's really small. I'm going to go ahead and make it big. So there you go. Total fat, sodium, and calcium. So one of the things we know we're going to want is a paragraph, and we'll go ahead, just do it this simple way at first, and then we'll make things we'll pretty it up a little bit. So there's our name, and now let's go ahead and grab the value. So we have the nutrient name, and we want the line's value, because that's not inside of the nutrient, but inside of the actual product template's nutrient. And then let's go ahead while we're at it and say, what if we wanted to say line.nutrient ID dot the unit of measure ID dot name. And this should be perfectly legal. that we're actually going in here, and this will all be just crammed together for now, but we're going to have the name of the nutrient, what the value is for that nutrient, and then we're even going so far inside to get the, I guess you would call it the unit of measure, the name for the unit of measure there. So we'll save that. We're going to go back in here, restart our server, pull this back up. And look at our report. And we'll make it big so we can see it. And there you go. Notice we have total fat, 4.0 grams, sodium 2 grams, calcium 2 ounces, just like we have here in our data. So now we are going to just do a little bit of formatting here so you can see how we use this QWeb template for making things a little nicer looking. We can replace this P out with a row. And so we'd say D class equals row. And I'd highly encourage you looking at other reports inside of the Odoo add-ons folder, inside of the other applications, to get out, what you want. And so we're replacing this P with a div for a row. And then if there's rows, you almost always have to have columns. And so I'm going to do a div class equals. And for these columns, I'm going to use col xs-4. And these are what you're going to learn are part of QWeb and part of what is sometimes called Bootstrap. Is it basically just means that out of 8 total columns, we're given 4 of them right here to the name. So I'm going to in my div tab here. So then we'll do another one, and we can just copy and paste this, and we'll make this one a 2 for the value, and then we end our div. And then we'll do another 2 one here for, I think actually they're supposed to add up to 12 now that I'm thinking about it. And then this will have an ending div as well. So it's a little outside the scope of everything that we would do for formatting, but this is a common way of where we have a row. So for each line, it's going to loop through each line. We have a row, and we're going to end that row here. And then we have a div tag for one of the columns. It's going to be a little bigger. Let's go ahead and make that 6. And then we have one here for the value, and we'll leave that one 2. Maybe we'll make this one 4. So they add up to 12. And this is going to show the name. This will show the value. This will show the unit of measure name. And these are basically tags that tell how much space each one of them should use. So this should use 6 columns. This will use 2 columns, and this will use 4 columns. We'll save all that. We'll go back here to our server and start and stop it. Make sure we don't have any errors in our XML. And we'll go back to here. Nutrition products. No errors or anything. It's already created the document. We just need to open it and look at it. And now you'll notice how it's all formatted out there. So it's probably not what we want. We'd probably just put these 2 together. But it's basically to show you, look at how we're able to take and use up half of the page for this column, and then tell it that we want so much room for this column and so much room for this column. So we're learning here, again, look how we got the header at the top. It's pulled in our header. Well, we got that because we pulled in the report external layout in our template. And we have this is big, it's because it's wrapped in an H1. This is not quite as big because it's wrapped in an H2. These are just using paragraph tags. This is using an H3 tag. And we see here in our actual template that we're looping through using this T for each, all the nutrient IDs on our model that's in our template. making one for each row and listing out our items. So, you know, it's a pretty simple exercise here, but it doesn't matter whether you're doing it for your own models. Like in this case, we're kind of blending some of our own model and the product.template. But I would encourage you as an exercise, make a report for the menu, have it show the menu header, just like this one does, the product nutrition at the top, and then make a for each that loops through all of the meal items and the meal items inside of your meal and prints out, just like we did here, the calories and the servings from your meal items. And that will be a good exercise for you to do to get more comfortable with reporting, more comfortable with QWeb, and more comfortable with the Odoo framework in general. So that wraps up this video on reporting. There's a lot more to do, but we really are getting near the point of where you should begin to have a really good foundation for Odoo development and for us to build on them with more advanced lectures and courses. So take care, and we'll see you in the next lecture.